Um, Thank you for being here. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ellery Sozi. I'm the Chief of Police here in Lansing. I am here to give you a quick, a short overview of the timeline as I know it today that relates to our officer-involved shooting that happened on Friday evening. On Friday, December 1st, at approximately 11:19 p.m., Ingham County Central Dispatch received a 911 call for a domestic assault in progress in the 1600 block of Massachusetts. At 11:24, a witness called 911 to report hearing a gunshot and could hear a female crying at the scene. At 11:25, dispatch advised that the call is now a shooting. At 11:25, dispatch advised that a female has been shot. At 11:26, a witness advised that a female is outside screaming she had been shot. Officers locate a male standing next to a vehicle with an open door in the driveway and a female sitting in the seat of that open door. Officers give repeated commands to the male subject to show his hands and to get on the ground. During this encounter, a gun is presented by the male subject and officers engage him at that point. At 11:27, units advised that shots had been fired. At 11:27, officers make an approach towards the accused in the vehicle and check the status of the female, who was the original caller, and determined that she had not been shot. At 11:28, officers begin CPR until LFD, the Lansing Fire Department, arrives and takes over medical care. The male subject was then transported by the Lansing Fire Department to a local hospital where he was pronounced deceased. The subject's name is Steven Ruiz Romero. 9/17 of this incident. Consistent with policy and best practices, the officers are on paid administrative leave. As the investigating agency, the state police is in possession of the firearm possessed by Romero, witness statements, and any other evidence involved in this case from here on out. Once the Michigan State Police have gathered all information and have had review of the video involved, I will review and release the names of the officers involved along with that video. Dated as much as we can to this point. I think you all know transparency is important to me and to the Lansing Police Department, and I will share what I can when I can. But we'll also consider the integrity of the investigation as well as the family's wishes. Do you have any questions?
You said gun was presented?
Yes.
Can you clarify what you mean by that?
I can at this point.
Would you be able to spell, is that Stephen is that P-H-E-N?
Yes, Steve
Ruiz?
R-U-I-S, Ruiz. Romero, R-O-M-E-R-O.
Can you respell the first name? Sorry.
Steven, S-T-E-P-H-A-N.
Oh. Okay, and that was 1990?
9/17 of 1990.
Okay. I do have some additional questions. So then you said, when were you looking to release those names?
Once I get a review of all the video.
The accused shoot at officers?
I'm not going to share any of that information at this point. That's part of the investigation, and I don't want to compromise the integrity of the case.
How many officers right now, can you say how many officers are currently removed from normal duty, and then how many fired at Ruiz?
I can tell you that 2 are on administrative leave at this point.
You want to say how many fired?
No.
Can we know how many officers responded to the scene?
There were a lot, but the ones involved were the 2 individuals that I spoke about.
Aside from the deceased, anyone injured in the incident?
I can't get involved in that. Give that information at this point.
But to confirm, as you did say, that the female was not shot.
That is correct.
Okay.
The house where this all happened, did Romero live there, or was he just visiting?
I can't share that information right now. Sorry.
It's okay.
Is he?
I don't have that information right now. I'm sorry.
Any information on calls to service to this address, frequency?
Not that I can share right at this point.
And so I guess it's basically, from what it sounds like, this would have been like a non-compliant situation. From what you're saying, it seemed like he brandished a gun And he wasn't complying with what officers' commands were? When you said
During,
they were wanting to get on the ground?
when they were trying to put him in custody, a gun was presented, yes.
Okay.
You said this whole officers
Correct.
involved? Okay. Any dash cam video that you're aware of?
I'm not, that's part of the investigation that I haven't been able to review all of that video, and I don't know where the police vehicles were located.
To your knowledge, at this point, was any obstruction in either body cam videos of the incident?
Not that I'm aware of.
So then I guess there was, it sounds like they were trying to apprehend him and they were close to him when they found that gun, or from a distance they saw this gun?
A lot of that, well, I'll be able to explain when the video is released.
He was shot outside by the car, or did he move somewhere
The
else?
incident did happen outside,
Okay. That's all my questions.
Well, outside of that vehicle?
yes.
Okay.
Any ETA on the state police investigation and when you might be able to provide an additional update?
I'm hopeful that by the end of the week, I'll have more to share along with the names of the officers.
I guess my last question would just be, is there, we know it was a domestic dispute for the call, is there any other information around that?
Investigation, what happened prior to the incident is also being investigated by the state police, which is typically what happens in these incidents.
To your knowledge, the two officers, have they previously been involved in any officer-involved shootings at Lansing Police Department?
I don't have that information right now.
And when you release their names, will you release personnel files, any disciplinary history, that information?
I'll release their names and what we usually release to the media in our previous incidents.
Okay, so then my final question is just for clarity once again. And then I guess when the shooting occurred, they then tried to do CPR and things at that moment and made the connection with him, but there was never any contact made, I guess, before this occurred.
Well, I can't really get into the details more than what I've shared already, but once I review the video, you will be able to see the incident, how it unfolded with the officers from their perspective. Thank you very much for coming today.